everyone, and welcome back to Movin' Right Along, a Muppet movie podcast brought to you by toughpigs.com. It's the podcast where we watch The Muppets Take Manhattan 2 minutes at a time and talk about it a lot. I'm your host, Anthony Strand.
And I'm your other host, Ryan Roe.
And today we are joined by a recurring fave. He's been here for every movie, and he's back for this one. Who are you, recurring fave?
I'm Grant Harding, an old knucklehead from the Tough Pigs Forum.
Grant Harding, that old knucklehead from the Tough Pigs Forum.
That old knucklehead.
What a thrill. All right, and Grant is joining us today for minutes 59 and 60 of The Muppets Take Manhattan. We have made it to the 1 hour mark, and in these minutes, Mr. Skeffington gives Rolf some instructions, then he leaves, and then all the dogs laugh at Snookums. So we start here with Mr. Skeffington, James Coco's character, who's talking baby talk to his dog Snookums.
Have you done your Who is James Coco bit already?
We did do Who is James Coco, but if you have more to add, by all means, throw it in.
All I know about him is that he sang short people on the Muppet Show. That's my whole experience with James Coco.
Sure, yeah.
I think we mentioned that, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I should actually correct myself. I mentioned in the last episode that James Coco, I said, was the only person ever to be nominated for an Oscar and a Razzie for the same performance in Only When I Laugh. First of all, turns out I was already wrong because Amy Irving in Yentl, Barbara Streisand's Yentl was
Lentil was the Mad Magazine parody.
I'm sure it was. It was like, Papa, Can You Hear Me parody about split pea soup or something. Anyways, Amy Irving in Yentl was nominated for a Razzie and an Oscar, but also in the week since we recorded the last episode and this one, Glenn Close was nominated for both an Oscar and a Razzie for Hillbilly Elegy this year.
History in the making.
Yes. So third time. I said last that it had just been one time. It was 2 then. Now it's 3. Yeah. And maybe she'll win. I mean, Glenn Close, has never won an Oscar. Every time she is nominated, it's like, maybe this will be the one. They'll actually give it to her for Dangerous Liaisons this year or whatever,
Right.
She'll have to change her name to Glenn. I got it. Oh, edit that out.
No way.
No, that's good. Glenn, I got it. That's what I call it. All right. Oh, man. All right. But Glenn Close is not in this and indeed has never worked with the Muppets, to my knowledge.
Let me check the wiki. Keep talking. I'll check the wiki.
All right. I'll keep talking. So what is happening here is that Mr. Skeffington is talking baby talk to his dog Snookums, and then Rolf interrupts him to say, "Don't worry, we'll take good care of her." Mr. Skeffington says, "Him. Snookums is a him." And what I like about this joke, watching it in 2021, is that Rolf just accepts this right away, right? Like, Rolf doesn't laugh about the dog being feminine or something,
Yeah, well, we noted last week the dog is wearing a little bow, which you would normally associate with girl dogs, but yeah, whatever.
Right. Ace U wears one.
That's right, he does.
Oh, yeah. The lead character of Dog City.
Right. Which actually I just watched the other night, Dog City, because it was family movie night and we were running late. So I asked my kids to choose between the 2011 Winnie the Pooh movie, which is 63 minutes long, and Dog City, which is 39 minutes long. And they eagerly chose Dog City and were very excited.
That is great.
Did not seem to notice that it's incredibly short. So
what tickles me about Snookums' gender is that Rolf, himself a dog, can't tell the difference. Can't tell a boy dog from a girl dog.
Well, maybe if he had sniffed him, he would have been able to tell.
Yeah, that's the thing. But anyways,
Glenn Close, by the way, has been on Sesame Street.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm not surprised to hear that she has.
What did she do?
The wiki doesn't know. A clip from her appearance was in Stars and Street Forever with. It was the one with Joe Pesci, right?
Yeah, that's the one where Joe Pesci plays Ronald Grump.
So her appearance is out there somewhere.
But back in this movie, Mr. Skeffington.
Yes.
Mr. Skeffington starts listing Snookums' various needs. The first of which is breakfast at 8 a.m. exactly, which is kind of funny, but then follows that up with breakfast is quiche, which is so funny to me.
Yeah. Well, I Googled, just out of curiosity, can dogs eat quiche? Because my instinct was that they probably shouldn't. And the first result I got was a website called whatcandogseat.com. And this website notes that dogs should not eat quiche because quiche usually contains a lot of dairy and fat and often onion and garlic, which are bad for dogs. So
right.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Don't feed your dogs quiche.
But you could make a quiche without onions.
You could, yes.
But I guess really just give your dog scrambled eggs if that's what you really want to do, right? Like,
oh yeah. They'll eat that up.
Yeah, it's like all the other stuff. The
other thing about quiche, this I don't know if you have this in your notes, but this movie came out 2 years after the publication of a book called a bestseller called "Real Men Don't Eat Quiche" by Bruce Fierstein. The subtitle is "A Guidebook to All That Is Truly Masculine," and this was like.
A joke thing?
Yeah, it's like a satirical guide to what men should do and shouldn't do if they want to be like masculine, manly men. So I can only assume that the filmmakers kind of had that in the back of their heads when they made quiche the food that Snookums is supposed to eat.
Yeah, and this we should note this is the same Bruce Fierstein who wrote most of the Pierce Brosnan James Bond movies.
Is that true?
Really?
Yeah, it is. Yes.
Huh. How do you go from writing a silly book about... That's really interesting because James Bond himself is like full of manly man stereotypes.
Right, but like also those Pierce Brosnan movies are pretty cheeky about it too.
That's true, yeah. Huh.
So I wonder if like that had something to do with him getting that because I mean he wrote Tomorrow Never Dies. It's not like he wrote Quantum of Solace,
Right. Yeah, you're right. It was a little like they were trying to move in a different direction, I think, before they then tried to move in yet another different direction.
Right, exactly.
Maybe it's just me, but I think Mr. Skeffington's chauffeur kind of looks like David Laser.
Huh.
Like it's not. It's not, but it kind of looks like him to me.
No, because Dave Laser is in this movie, as we established. He's Liza Minnelli's date at Sardi's.
That's right, he is.
Yeah. Rizal Evad Gibb, if you will.
Yeah.
And I will.
I think that episode hasn't come out yet, so I haven't heard it yet.
Yeah, I suppose not. Interesting.
What episode of The Muppet Show is that with Rizal Evad Gibb?
Weirdly, it's in 2 episodes, Linda Carter and Tony Randall.
Oh, okay.
It's a magic word in both of those episodes.
Right. Okay.
Which are both on Disney Plus. Go check them out.
Yeah.
Gang. Linda Carter especially is like one of the all-time greats.
That's a good one, yeah.
Yeah. And you can watch all 3 seasons of Wonder Woman on HBO Max. Check them out.
Do it.
Okay. Cloris Leachman plays Hippolyta in the pilot. Muppet Show guest star Cloris Leachman.
Oh.
All right. She sure does. All right. And then what happens next in this scene? Breakfast is quiche. James Coco demands that Ralph write it down. And Ralph says that he has a photographic memory. So he doesn't
I always misheard that line as phonographic, like that Rolf was doing a play on words, and he was saying he has a memory for audio.
Right, which would make sense. I mean, I think the joke is that like a photographic memory won't help him with audio, right?
Oh yeah,
that's how I always took it.
But that's how I always described my memory for Muppet quotes was phonographic memory.
Sure.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, we've never heard anything about Ralph's photographic memory before or since this, as far as I know. But somebody should bring back a reference to it.
Yeah. Although, did either of you guys read the Cam Jansen mystery novels as a kid?
My brother did.
I did not, but I know of them.
Well, they're not very good. I mean, it was like if you can't find an Encyclopedia Brown, sure, Cam Jansen, good enough. But she has a photographic memory. That's like the whole deal. Is that she's a kid detective with the
Cam is short for camera, isn't it?
Cam is short for camera, exactly.
Would she just like look at something and close her eyes and take a snapshot of it?
Yeah, take a snapshot of it, and then like later on, she ends up having to like sketch the entire room for things to like like show somebody where something was or whatever.
Yeah.
But so as a kid, like that's what I thought of every time I watched this movie.
Oh yeah.
When Rolf would say he had a photograph, like, Rolf is just like Cam Jansen, the knockoff Encyclopedia Brown. That's so cool, All right. What else? What else happens in this one? Oh, then Rolf writes it down and says, "Dog gets quiche at 8," whatever that is.
My God, that is the funniest part of this scene to me is just him muttering quiche, whatever that is.
Yeah, he has no idea.
We say that every time we make quiche. We say, okay, we're planning out meals for the week, and we say, okay, on Wednesday we'll make quiche, whatever that is.
That's great. I love that.
Yeah, Ralph's not a fancy guy. He doesn't care about quiche.
No, he's salt of the earth. Look, every night he has a couple of beers, takes himself for a walk, and goes to bed.
Yeah,
like
that's it.
He's not making quiche. But so then Mr. Skeffington turns to his chauffeur, and okay, tell me if I'm hearing this incorrectly. It sounds to me like he says Marvin put him on the desk. Did you hear Marvin?
Oh, I didn't notice that.
It took me a while. It took me a while to get there. I heard it as Boffin first, and I thought that can't be right, so I had to listen to it a few times. But yeah, Marvin, I think is what he's saying.
All gets quiche to eat, whatever that is.
Marvin put him on the desk.
Yeah, which seems like a weird name to give that guy. Like if you're a screenwriter, it seems. It's like, first of all, I think of Marvin as being the name of a toddler who poops in his diaper in a newspaper comic,
or a Martian,
not a depressed robot.
Oh yeah, yes.
We each thought of a different Marvin,
and yours are both way better than mine. Like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and Looney Tunes are good. Marvin the comic strip is like objectively terrible.
Well, it's just one of those comic strips that's been doing the same 5 punchlines for decades.
Yeah, for like 40 years at this point.
Yeah.
But anyways, even so, yeah, none of those guys, including like Marvin the Paranoid Android or Marvin the Martian or Marvin the Poop Baby, none of them seem like a chauffeur, Like you
that's
think
his last name.
No.
It's his last name, yeah, Poop Baby. So I don't know. It seems like a weird choice if, in fact, that's what they're saying.
Huh.
Marvin doesn't have a wiki article. We should make one.
Well, yeah, he says chauffeur in the credits.
Ah.
I don't think he has a wiki article.
Did we talk about the actor? I didn't realize he was credited.
Didn't you say that he was listed as chauffeur?
Is that who we talked about last week?
Yeah, because Roz was talking about how like serious he looks or whatever.
Oh, okay. Then we probably did talk about him.
Yeah, he has to play it totally stone-faced through this whole ludicrous scene.
Right. Anyways, what next? Okay, so then Mr. Skeffington says, "Do you have any toys around here?" Ralph inquires, like, what kind of toys? And the disdain with which James Coco says, "Doggy toys."
So much contempt.
Well, so it's as though Ralph is saying, "Well, what kind of toys would you like?" He's saying,
right, yeah. What kind of toys, human? Sure, we have some toys for you, human. No, but I was going to say it actually reminds me a little bit of Charles Grodin in Great Muppet Caper, who often acts just like that, about various things.
Yeah,
right.
Well, this is a smaller role, but I think this is another example of how these cameos in Muppet movies are just like master classes in how to make the most of just a few minutes of screen time. Like, I think if James Coco were a bigger star, we might, people might talk about this cameo the same way they talk about Steve Martin in the Muppet movie, just because there's so much attitude in just like 2.5 minutes of screen time here that he brings.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, he's really good, but you're right. Like, I mean, I've seen him on the Muppet Show. I don't think I've ever seen him. Like I said, I've seen Man of La Mancha once 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's about it. I mean,
he's not as famous as John Cleese or Steve Martin or Mel Brooks. So we just don't quite recognize him as much, but we should.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. He's great here. And then he continues on in describing the toys. He says, rubber balls, rubber fire hydrants, rubber newspapers, which is it's so funny. But also, are rubber fire hydrants a thing?
Oh, I'm sure you could find that if that's what you wanted for your dog.
Yeah, I suppose so. But it's not like those other two are like stock, regular doggy toys, right?
Yeah.
When I was a child, I had a whole bunch of squeaky toys that I played with that I now realize were in fact dog toys.
I've been to Petco and seen they have a lot of cool toys that are made for dogs, but I'm like, I would play with that.
In one of my puppet acts, a character is trying to eat a slice of cake and the phone keeps ringing, and that slice of cake is a dog toy. I just took the squeaker out.
Yeah, nice. When I had a dog, there was one Halloween where they had Muppet doggy toys that looked like the characters dressed up in Halloween costumes.
Oh yeah.
And it was like a Kermit Frankenstein and a Fozzie Dracula, and I don't remember, Animal as a mummy or something.
That is like several layers deep.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. But
a dog toy of a Muppet dressed as a monster.
As a monster. But I was so excited to buy him. Like, I don't think he really cared. You know, like the dog wasn't like, yes, finally, Fozzie Bear dressed up like a Frankenstein.
I don't think dogs ever care. Or
Right.
But here I found on Amazon a rubber fire hydrant chew toy.
Rubber fire hydrant.
Yeah, so they do exist. You can get them.
They do exist, just like the M&Ms when Santa Claus.
They do exist.
They run that commercial every year for the last 20 years.
At least 20. Yeah, it's wild. And I feel like either the CGI is continually updated or it was just like world-class CGI for a commercial because it looks good every year.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think it was the Will Vinton company that did. Anyway, Muppets.
Yeah, Muppets. All right. So then he clarifies, Mr. Skeffington clarifies that Snookums prefers the Rubbo Wall Street Journal to the Rubbo Washington Post. Now, and of course, Rolf says, don't we all? But what I didn't realize as a child, and I don't even know if this is part of the joke, so help me understand, gentlemen. What I didn't know as a kid is that the Wall Street Journal is right-leaning and the Washington Post is left-leaning.
Oh,
right.
Right?
I guess the Washington Post has always been a little bit left-leaning.
I mean, I wasn't reading the newspaper in 1984.
Right.
But I would assume, but like, is that part of the joke that like the rich guy wants his dog to have the like conservative newspaper?
Well, and also the Wall Street Journal is very business and finance
focused. Right.
So yeah, I think, I mean, I guess that's part of it because they could have named any two newspapers.
Right. That's as a kid, I just thought it was funny that it's like,
yeah.
you know, he likes one type of fake newspaper over the other.
Yeah.
But
and Rolf's little, don't we all? That's wonderful. That's so good.
Yeah, that's great. It's so good. Rolf is so like, we're talking a lot about James Coco, but Rolf is so funny in this scene.
Yeah, just he's so droll in some of these exchanges.
Well, it's if I can detour again for a second, it's I think Anthony, you've talked in previous episodes about how unfortunate it is that this movie splits the Muppets up.
Mm-hmm.
How nice it is when they're all together. But the advantage of splitting them up is that they each get a chance to go off and be funny all by themselves. Like,
right, true.
That's true.
There's no funny Rolf scene in Great Muppet Caper because everybody's there all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
But
right.
in this movie, when you separate them out, I mean, this scene with Rolf is just this perfect little comedy sketch.
You're right. Yeah, it's interesting because you're right. It does feel a little bit more like the Muppet Show for that reason in those scenes, right?
Yeah, and we even have Gonzo doing a stunt that goes wrong.
Gonzo does a stunt. The Electric Mayhem are wailing and cooking.
Right. I wish the Electric Mayhem got a full skit in this.
Yeah. Well, and we've talked about apparently one was shot with Bunsen and Beaker in it.
Yeah, I wish they'd kept that because it goes by too fast.
It goes by way too fast.
Funny scene.
But and I just wish it was out there somewhere. Like even if it was a deleted scene, I don't know.
Yeah, who knows if those still exist?
Yeah, probably not. I mean, maybe it's at Frank Oz's house in a closet.
Could be, or somewhere at Sony in the TriStar vault.
Right next to all the Jumanjis.
Well, they found the
hidden among the Jumanjis.
They found the alternate ending to Little Shop, so.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, you never know.
Which is wild, by the way. Like that. Like I felt like I knew what that sequence was going to be like, and it's so much bigger and crazier than.
Oh yeah, it's so far surpassed. Yeah, my expectations, and just the fact that they've been able to restore it and it looks so great now. Yeah.
It must have cost half the budget of the movie. It's
It's funny because we hear all the time about Zack Snyder's Justice League, 4 hours long, 70 million, but that's nothing compared to the Little Shop of Horrors restored ending. I'm much more excited about that. The thing that I've seen
the Audrey 2 cut.
4 years,
Hashtag restore the Audrey 2 cut
or the Oz cut.
Yeah, hashtag restore the Oz cut.
Although Frank Oz is usually pretty open about how much he listens to like audience feedback.
Yes.
Yeah, it does seem like it was his decision to change the ending.
It was largely his decision, I think.
And I've always thought it works fine. Like as someone who loves the musical and loves the movie, like I've never watched that movie as a high schooler or whatever, and been like, "This is dumb.
The
They should
theatrical
all
cut.
be in a giant cloth singing about how green they are now.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Coming
yeah.
to my town.
Yeah, it's fine. And he added that little, they have the supposedly happy ending where they get married and they're in their house, and then you see the little Audrey 2 head just smile at the very end. So it's kind of like it's not over yet.
Spoilers.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Spoilers for Frank Oz's next movie. Next time on Frank Oz on, I don't know, what are we calling it? Movin' Rightal Oz. We're going to talk about
that was next after this one, wasn't it?
That was next. Yeah.
I was in that musical at university.
So was I. Who did you play?
I was Audrey too.
I was Mr. Mushnick. I got eaten by you.
Wow.
We were not in the same production. We should clarify for listeners, but that's fun. We could do what's the song where I'm like, little red dots all over the linoleum, and you're like, he's got your number. We could do that.
Supper time.
We could do the whole song. Ryan, you got to be Seymour. Ryan, you okay?
I could be Seymour. My siblings were both in a high school production. My brother played Seymour, and my sister was one of the Greek chorus singers.
I assume the same production.
Yeah. Grant, were you the puppetry and the voice of Audrey 2?
No, I was the puppetry. The voice was done from the sound booth by the producer, I think.
Oh, okay. Because also
we had this wonderful thing. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
I was just gonna say. Also, my wife and previous podcast guest Stacey Rosen was in a production where she was the voice of Audrey 2. Oh,
that's pretty cool.
So, yeah, all kinds of connections to that show.
We had a wonderful thing. Where Audrey 1, the girl who played her was an identical twin. And still is an identical twin. Mm-hmm. And so when she sang Somewhere That's Green, her twin came out and danced with Seymour as a little fantasy sequence.
Oh, cool.
So it was like special effects.
That must have blown the minds of like people in the audience who didn't, who had no idea that she was a twin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Man, Little Shop of Horrors is good.
Yeah.
All right, everyone, go watch it. Listen to the cast recording, whatever, man. All right. But in this one, now as we continue on, Mr. Skeffington, he turns and talks back to Snookums and says, while daddy is gone, little lumpy dum-dums won't have his daddy to give him washy scrubby. And that's when Ralph interrupts to say, very impressive. You speak Chinese like a native.
Yeah. Is that an expression or is that just something Ralph came up with?
I think he's just saying like, You're talking gibberish, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Like I wondered, like is that racist? Is that borderline racist? I mean, because what he's saying is you're talking. It's Greek to me. You're talking.
Right. Yeah, it's Greek to me, right? So well, then the question is I mean, I guess is Greek to me, like, would it be less offensive if it was that?
I don't know.
Because that's
I don't know.
I don't know. So my uncle and aunt lived in China for my entire childhood. Lived in the Yellow River Valley for like 25 years. Two of their 3 children were born in China, whatever. Oh. So when they were around, they would often speak Mandarin to each other so that like, the rest of us couldn't know what they were talking about. It's like if they wanted to have a private conversation, they would just speak in Mandarin. So like when I was a kid, like that's why I thought this joke was funny. So my uncle Mark and Aunt Renee, would like speak Chinese
to your life.
And it just like sounded like I had no idea, So
yeah, I think I used to think that it was more like as if he was speaking the language of the dogs speak, but that doesn't make sense because the dogs don't talk in baby talk like that.
Although is Snookums, I don't know what breed he is. Is he Pekingese?
I think that's what we established last time.
I think suggested either Pekingese or Lhasa Apso, or Shih Tzu possibly.
So maybe he would speak Chinese.
That's not impossible.
Like that's what my wife Roz was on the last one, and she said that's what she always thought that joke was. That because the dog is a Chinese breed of dog.
Okay.
Or whatever. Listeners will have heard that by now, I suppose. But
this movie is so deep, man.
Well, I would definitely like to hear what listeners think about this particular line of dialogue.
Yeah, indeed. But so anyways, having said that, Skeffington then starts to give Ralph commands. And this is another thing Ralph is very funny, right? He says, shake hands. And Ralph just goes, beg pardon? Which that phrasing is so funny.
Yeah.
And then he says, shake hands again. Rolf does it. Good boy. Sit.
Yeah.
Rolf crouches down.
Rolf has this little moment of, oh, right, dog. Yeah, dog.
Right. I'm a dog. Ah, yes. So then he tells him to sit. Rolf crouches down. And then as he backs away, as Mr. Skevington backs away, he's going, stay. I swear, James Coco says the word stay 4 different times.
4 different ways.
4 different ways. Yeah, he says it 4 different ways in 4 times. Yeah. Is what I meant.
So over on our other podcast feed, we just finished a rewatch of the 2015 ABC sitcom, The Muppets. And I had not noticed that almost every time we see Ralph on that series, there's some kind of like, haha, he's a dog type joke. Like he's wearing a cone because he got surgery, or he makes a reference to having worms, or he makes a reference to having fleas. Like, as if that's all the writers of that show knew to do with him. And I wonder if this scene has something to do with that. Like maybe this was the movie that some of the writers of that show were most familiar with. So they leaned on the, haha, Ralph is a dog, so he reacts to things the way a dog would type jokes.
They would do it from time to time on the Muppet Show, but not a lot.
Yeah, not as much.
And here I feel like the joke is that he isn't also like James Coco is like sit, and Rolf's just like, oh yeah, I'm a dog.
Yeah.
And then after he leaves, after Mr. Skevington goes out the door, Rolf turns to Snookums and says, that was the most humiliating experience of my life.
Yeah. It's not.
So it's
I
not
guess
like Rolf is like, this is what happens to me because I'm a dog.
Right. It's not something that comes natural to him.
Right. So I feel, whereas all those jokes on that sitcom were just kind of like, hey, what if a dog could talk?
Yeah.
That'd be
and
funny.
constantly reminded us that he's a dog. Yeah, exactly.
Like, man, okay. Can I do a tangent about that show real quick?
Do it.
Sure.
On your podcast, which I enjoyed thoroughly. I listened to every episode. I loved it. I think listeners should go listen to it. Great analysis of
you
it.
can find it. If anyone has not heard it, you can find it by searching for either The Muppets, the sitcom, the podcast, or if that doesn't work, search for Muppet Fan Podcast from toughpigs.com.
Yes, it's great. I loved the show. I loved that podcast much more than I loved the series. But so often, you and Joe both, as the hosts, will say something like, there's so many good jokes on this show. And almost every time either of you do that and cite a specific joke, I'm just like, no, that's a terrible joke. Like almost every time while listening.
Sounds like it's 2-1. Sounds like you're
sure,
outnumbered, pal.
Like, that's why I didn't send either of you an itemized list. I'm telling you now that your podcast is all over,
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, man. I wish I had as much fondness for that show as you two both clearly do. Like I genuinely wish I did,
Yeah.
I want to like Muppet stuff.
Sure, we all do.
Right. But anyways, yeah, go listen to the Muppet Fan Podcast with toughpigs.com podcast. Muppets, the sitcom, the podcast.
That's the one.
That's the one. It's good. It's great. I'll go ahead and say great.
Thanks.
Yep. So anyways, then after Mr. Skevington leaves, all the other dogs start making fun of Snookums for being a fancy lad.
This is a fancy lad. This is an interesting moment too, because all the other dogs in the kennel are Muppets, but you kind of don't notice until they cut to the close-up and they start talking.
I really thought that a couple of the ones that were closest to the camera were real dogs in a previous shot. And I don't know if they swapped them out or if they were just more realistic-looking Muppet dogs the whole time. I actually don't know.
Yeah, it's possible that they swapped them out too.
Yeah.
Like they did that stuff on the Muppet Show.
I don't think they did though. I think they're puppets the whole time, but they're in the background. You're watching Rolf do funny stuff. You're watching Rolf be dryly hilarious, and you don't. And your brain just kind of goes, "Oh yeah, dogs." You don't notice.
Right. But anyway, so I should note that two of the dogs, two of the first ones that we hear speak, are named Jim and Frank.
Yeah, that's fun.
Presumably after Jim Henson and Frank Oz, but Jim is played by Dave Goelz and Frank is played by Karen Prout.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I really enjoy that, that there's, because I don't think Frank performs in this scene at all. I don't hear his.
He was presumably he was in the room because he was directing.
He's directing the movie, right? Yeah.
Unless he's going back to his roots and being Rolf's right hand again.
Rolf's right hand.
Oh, there's a shaggy sort of sheepdog looking dog in the corner. Could that be Rufus? Maybe he wanted to get back to playing Rufus.
Well,
You want to play Rufus again.
There's a dog played by Richard Hunt who has one line, and I can't tell if it's Muppy or Rufus because I can't tell those two apart.
Yeah, I can't either.
Oh, okay. So it's not.
But you
Frank.
think that's Richard? It's Richard. It's
All right.
the original Miss Piggy. All right.
I do like that all the dogs have names on their cages.
Right. So tell me if I got them all. We see dogs named Taco, Nicky, Haji, Hodjii, and Nichols. Those are the names that I noticed besides Jim and Frank.
There's also one named Hap, H-A-P.
H-A-P. Oh, okay. I missed that one.
And there's also one called Homer.
Oh.
Homer.
Yeah.
Neato. But yeah, so all the dogs start making noise and they're just all howling. And
one of them, when they're making fun of Snookums, one of them says, "Hey, Snooky, look at little Snooky Ookums." So do you think this is where the Jersey Shore reality star Snooky got her nickname from?
Must be.
I sure hope so.
It has to be, right?
I mean, here's the thing. She's younger than this movie.
Right.
So it's very possible.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know that it's likely, but it's possible.
No, but I'd like to think that it is.
Hodjii is such an interesting name. I've Googled it and got no results for it spelled that way.
Yeah.
With an A, I'd expect to see it with an A, right?
Apparently there's a character from Johnny Quest, a show I've never seen, named Hodjii, spelled a different way.
Right.
And that's spelled Hadji. Yeah.
Okay.
Taco says, "Little Binky Booter," which is, I assume that a lot of these lines were just sort of improvised by the puppeteers, but that's a funny one.
That's weird because I thought Taco was going to sing "Putting on the Ritz."
That would be a great deleted scene.
Grant is looking quizzically. In the 80s, a singer named Taco had a hit with a cover of "Putting on the Ritz," which was that was my introduction to that song.
That was
when I was a kid. I thought that was just by Taco. Yeah.
Wow.
But I was going to say, my wife has been known to address our dog as Little Binky Booter.
Naturally.
That's cute.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Rolf does try to stop this. He says, "Hey guys, lay off him, will you?" But then they all keep howling. We want to go home. And then, remind me, do we hear Rolf howl? We don't in this scene. Does not happen.
No, he just says, "Yeah, me too," and then that's the end of our clip today. Yeah,
that's the end of our clip. Yeah. So, any other thoughts before we go? That brings us down to the end. Anything else about these 2 minutes before we go? Grant, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I have a few. A couple notes about set dressing. There's a book on the counter next to Rolf that I think is called The Book of Puppies. Oh. It's hard to read. I Googled that title but couldn't find any book that looked like that one.
Huh.
Yeah. But something I did find
seems like a common title.
Yeah, something I did find is when Rolf leans in to say "You speak Chinese like a native," you can see behind him a box of lollipups, which is a real brand of dog treats patented in 1952, now owned by Sargent's Pet Care Products.
Okay.
So presumably Rolf's contract with Purina Dog Chow had expired by this point.
Oh,
yeah, I guess so.
Allowed to shill other brands of dog food.
That's where he originated, right? It was the Purina commercials.
Yeah, that's what he was built for.
Baskerville, the other Muppet dog.
Yeah, it was him in Baskerville. I mentioned the other day, or I mentioned earlier in this podcast that I just rewatched Dog City with my kids, and the sound engineer in that special is named Michael Baskerville.
Oh,
yeah.
So, like, I almost said something out loud to Roz, like, my kids needed to get to bed, so we weren't going to sit around talking about the credits. But, like, this is a guy, he, like, I looked at his IMDb, he, like, worked on The Shape of Water and, like, a bunch of Canadian television. His name is Michael Baskerville.
And what did you say is his credit?
He's a sound engineer on Dog City.
Not the Hound engineer.
Not the Hound engineer. Right, but, like, that's what I mean. Like, what a weird thing that, like, that sounds like a joke credit, but
yeah,
he's a real guy. He did sound mixing for the TV show Degrassi: The Next Generation.
Oh, wow. Does Baskerville appear in Dog City?
I don't think so. I feel like I would notice Baskerville.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing him.
Yeah, I don't think so either, but maybe he's in the background in some crowd shot.
Yeah. Man, they should have credited him as Hound Engineer. I wonder why they didn't.
That would be great.
It seems like a missed opportunity. But what a great special. We should do Dog City 2 minutes at a time. All right. What? Sorry. What, Grant?
Oh no, just you may have some more set dressing. You may have talked about this in the previous one, but the sign on Rolf's desk says "Trust your dog with our dog."
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
I
that's
like
great.
that.
Which is great. Rules.
And Rolf is the manager, unlike Scooter. So he's doing better than Scooter, because Scooter said he was managing the cinema, and he's not. But
right, Rolf
That's
actually
true.
did get a job in management.
Yeah.
Something else I like about these postcards from the Muppets is that it's kind of a similar device in a lot of cases to postcards from Traveling Matt. You've talked in the podcast before about how Fraggle Rock was in production at the same time, or this was on a break from Fraggle Rock.
Yeah.
And, Muppets talking in their postcard about how things are going well, and you see in reality they're going poorly. And it's
Right. All of them.
sort of same energy as, Traveling Matt, getting picked up and thrown out of a store. And in his narration, he's saying, I decided to leave.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
true. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's especially interesting because none of the 3 credited screenwriters on this movie worked on Fraggle Rock.
Right.
So maybe there was just something in the air. I don't know. Jerry Jewell was off writing those postcards, so he didn't work on this movie.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure they compared notes at times, but that's interesting.
Probably. All right, Ryan, anything to add before we go?
A couple things. So in the March 7th, 1983 draft of the screenplay, Snookums actually does talk.
Oh.
As I mentioned last week, Snookums has 2 owners in the draft, and after the 2 owners leave, Ralph asks, "How can you live with people like that?" And Snookums says, and in the stage direction, it says, "He has a feisty little voice like one of the East Side kids." He says, "Listen, pal, a guy's got to eat, So I haven't seen any of the East Side Kids movies, but I guess it's just like a kind of a scrappy, tough guy voice.
Yeah, they're like, first of all, you got to watch Angels with Dirty Faces.
I should.
You got to watch it. It's so good. Directed by Michael Curtiz of Casablanca and Yankee Doodle Dandy and Robin Hood fame. Yeah. And White Christmas fame. But they're just, these guys were in, what's that?
Sorry, I must be thinking of the wrong thing. That's not the name of the movie that the pretend movie that he watches in Home Alone, right? That's something.
The pretend movie in Home Alone is named Angels with Filthy Souls, which is a takeoff on the actual James Cagney movie Angels with Dirty Faces. Yes.
I got it. Okay.
Yeah. But anyways, they're in that, and then they were in a movie called Dead End around that time that has Humphrey Bogart in it, Joel McCrea. And then they starred in their own movies. They were the Dead End Kids, then they were the East Side Kids, then they were the Bowery Boys.
Yeah, I actually just learned this today after seeing that note in the script draft and looking them up.
Sure, but they starred in their own movies for like 15 years or more, like well into the 50s. By which point they were all like in their 30s, and they're still playing.
They weren't kids anymore.
Yeah, they're like playing like you say like scrappy they're like Ryan. You're a Fantastic Four fan.
Yes,
they're essentially what you would imagine the Yancey Street Gang to be.
Right.
I think.
So what I want to know is in this alternate universe where in this alternate version of the movie where Snookums spoke, who do you think played him?
Oh,
I would think Richard Hunt, right?
Yeah, like he did I can kind of hear the Richard Hunt voice in my head.
I just think it would be like Gunge from Fraggle Rock, right? Like it'd be that voice.
Yeah. Or who's there was a character who appeared on Sesame Street a few times in the 80s, like Tough Eddie, I think was his name.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know. I'm hearing that kind of voice.
He does Eddie in Captain Vegetable, and it's kind of that voice, right?
Yeah. Like, listen, pal, guys gotta eat now.
Yeah, I like spaghetti.
Yeah.
Awesome. Captain Vegetable rules. What a great song.
Sure does. Let's all go watch that after we finish here.
Do I look like a weirdo?
Oh, that's really good.
No, thank you.
Yeah, that's way better than my Richard Hunt. Quick, Ryan, do Jerry Nelson. Do Jerry Nelson as Andy, who likes candy.
I would not be able to do it as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's just Robin, right? Like
pretty much.
It's that Farley. It's Farley's voice. All right.
But I was also going to say this is actually maybe the saddest of all the postcards, if you really think about it, just because the whole scenario is just strange here. Because like we said, at the beginning, it seems like we have Ralph, who's a sentient dog who we know he can talk, he can play the piano, and we've seen that he graduated from college in this movie. And
I didn't think about that aspect of it. Yeah,
right. It seems like he's just taking care of these like lower, less evolved dogs who cannot talk, dogs who are kept as pets, and they put them in cages. Which is, that's a weird situation anyway, because they're all dogs. It's like that whole thing of like, how come Goofy is a dog and Pluto is a dog, but Pluto is a pet and Goofy lives in a house. But, and then I also think sometimes about the Chronicles of Narnia, the books by C.S. Lewis, where it's established that like there's two kinds of every animal. There's the big ones who are smart and can talk, and there's the smaller ones who are dumb and can't talk. So it's okay to hunt those and eat them because they're not the smart ones.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that's actually exactly how Lewis phrases it. The small ones who are dumb and can't talk. Yep.
Yeah, pretty much, right?
I think pretty much, yeah.
So maybe it could be something like that. But then at the end of this thing, all of these other dogs start talking. So they must be almost as smart as Ralph, but they're still being kept in these cages. And then you have Snookums, who in this version of the movie, the finished version of the movie, doesn't talk. So like he's the one dumb dog surrounded by all these sentient dogs. I don't know. It's just a very weird thing. And all of them are miserable to be there, either because they're being kept in cages or because, Ralph has a terrible job that he hates. So it's very strange and sad.
Oh. Maybe Snookums just doesn't feel like talking.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Maybe he's just a little shy.
Or he's like Sprocket. Like he's smart, but he doesn't speak English.
Yeah, Sprocket is way smart.
He is, yes.
Yeah.
He can do a great impression of Ned Schimmelfenny.
and a great impression of the Swedish Chef.
Oh yeah,
that's true. Yeah. Sprocket's great. All right, so that brings us down to the end of this episode. We will be back next week with another episode of Moving Right Along. But in the meantime, check out toughpigs.com on the internet, Facebook, Twitter, all over the place. If you want to tell us your thoughts about You Speak Chinese Like a Native, or Snookums, or anything else in these minutes, email us at movingrightalong@toughpigs.com. You can follow Ryan on Twitter at Ryan Roe. And Grant, where can our listeners find you on the internet?
You can find me at Abstract Grant on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And I if I can plug something,
please.
I want to plug my Star Wars fan film, which is Rogue One alternate ending.
You know what
I made by puppeteering Star Wars action figures in front of a green screen, and I think it's very funny and could have gone viral, but it never did.
Yeah, I think it's such a bummer that it didn't. I actually, as you know, I did my best.
Yes,
I have posted it to strangers who don't know who you are,
and I appreciate that.
Actually, had you not said that, I was planning to bring that up because I love that video so much.
Wonderful.
And actually, the first time that I saw it, I won't spoil it, but the first time that I watched it was with my nephew, and we both laughed so hard. Like, and again, my 16-year-old nephew doesn't know who you are. Like, he wasn't like, this is my uncle's friend, I better pity laugh. He just thought it was a funny Star Wars thing. You
haven't told him all about me?
I mean, I think I did say like, hey, my friend Grant made this Star Wars thing. Let's watch it, or whatever.
We'll link to that in the show notes.
Yeah, for sure. And then everyone can tell all their friends to listen to this podcast and watch that video. You can also give us a positive review on iTunes, but you better come back next week when we will continue talking about Muppets Take Manhattan on Moving Right Along. Goodbye.
Sit, stay. Woof.